Another thing that can break your marriage and make your marriage very unhappy and unholy is being petty. I remember I was on the phone with someone a while ago, and it was so crazy, and she was married, but I gotta say this. And we were talking about her husband, and the issues that she was bringing up before me was just, I'm sorry, but it was bananas. And the problems that she was having was just so simple. Like, it was things that I was sitting here as a single woman, coming in my house every day, and some nights crying and wishing I had some big arms wrapped around me and somebody, kissing on my neck and rubbing me, baby, to sleep. Like, what you talking about, girl? Bye. Nevertheless, she was upset because her husband was leaving the cap off the toothpaste and sleeping on her side of the bed. And I'm sitting here like, girl, is you serious? Like, toothpaste, some underwear on the floor. I would be happy to pick up some underwear off the floor. I would be happy to put the cap back on the toothpaste. And I would be delighted to have my husband sleep wherever he wanted to sleep in the bed. And that's honestly one of the reasons why I say that married women need to have a single godly friend, not a single worldly friend who's going to encourage you to step out on your husband and be foolish, but a single godly friend, because the advice is different. That's why I said earlier, like, married people can get around other bitter and married people and things like that, and then they fuel their bitterness because I'm mad at my husband, you mad at your husband, ooh, let's come together and talk about him, and now we both go back home even madder than before. That's insane. But when you're upset and you're bitter and you're talking to a single godly person, the advice is different because we're suffering, especially if we don't have a side piece, especially if we're doing it God's way and walking in abstinence until marriage, especially when we're battling against masturbation, right? Baby, the walk is totally different. You're going to get advice that's going to humble you, because some of the problems that married women have and talk about, to me, are foolish. They are FOOLISH. And that is why point number 6, being petty, is so important to make sure that we don't do in our marriage, because being petty in a marriage might seem harmless at first, but over time, it can cause deep resentment, emotional distance, and unnecessary conflict. Small acts of pettiness like keeping score, making sarcastic remarks, or withholding affection because he did this to you this day, it chips away at the trust and the love that holds a marriage together. And being petty can turn small issues into big problems. So instead of solving disagreements, pettiness adds fuel to the fire, right? And a minor argument about dishes or about you like I said, forgetting to fill the car up with gas can escalate into a full-blown fight. And it gives the enemy room to blow things out of proportion. And it shifts the focus from understanding to just trying to win an argument. Being petty also builds resentment and emotional distance, because constantly being petty and sarcastic and passive-aggressive creates bitterness over time within your spouse, and your spouse may start shutting down emotionally because they feel unappreciated or attacked. And when both partners hold grudges and are being petty and keeping score, love gets replaced by frustration. And being petty is also not a supportive atmosphere, because instead of working as a team, pettiness makes the relationship feel like a competition, because, like I said, you're keeping score. I did this, so you owe me. I did that, so you got to do this for me. And being petty destroys natural generosity and natural kindness. Like, your husband may just want to do this for you because he wants to do it, not because you did that for him last night, so now he has to come back and do something the same way for you next week. That's crazy. A marriage should feel free, y'all. It's supposed to feel free. It should feel like a partnership, not a battle. And being petty also lowers respect and affection, because pettiness erodes admiration and it makes both partners feel unheard. And over time, your spouse may stop confiding in you, and they may feel emotionally unsafe, because love and intimacy, y'all, it thrives on kindness. It thrives on a person being generous. It thrives on a person loving you just because, not because of keeping score and not because of passive aggressive jabs. And pettiness creates petty arguments that go nowhere. So instead of you guys talking about the real issues, talking about, finances, talking about, hey baby, how we're going to raise the children, talking about what are we going to do, for this holiday. Talking about whatever it is that you need to talk about. Being petty just has you talking about foolishness, and Satan is sitting back laughing at both of y'all as y'all took the bait. And in your marriage, you need to stop pettiness. And you stop pettiness by asking yourself, is this worth it? And if it's not, then you let go of the minor irritations instead of turning them into battles. Okay, hubby forgot to put gas in the car, but hubby is always good to me. I'm not even finna call him and talk to them about this. I'm just gonna put this gas in the car and take my butt to work. And, if I be a few minutes late, I'll just tell my boss, hey, I forgot to put gas in the car. Not a big deal. I'm not even finna call my husband today with this. He's at his own job or in his own career doing what he needs to do. I'm not even finna bother him. It's silly. Another thing that can help stop pettiness is to communicate openly. Say what's actually bothering you instead of using sarcasm or games and expecting your spouse to read your mind. Also, practice gratitude, y'all. I'm not gonna get off of this gratitude because it's one of the most important things in marriage. Focus on your spouse's good qualities rather than nitpicking at their flaws. So, okay, my husband never puts the top back on the toothpaste, but he takes care of the bills. My husband is sleeping on what I say is my side of the bed, but he's coming home at night and sleeping in the bed, period. Do y'all see what I'm saying? Okay, he leaves his underwear on the floor, but he's faithful to me. He's kind to me. He bought me flowers yesterday. So we have got to have the right perspective and focus on gratitude and choose kindness over winning, because you only win together. There is no winning over your husband. There is no winning over your wife. Love is not about being right, y'all. It's about being connected. It's about being united. And also, the last thing that can help you get rid of pettiness is to apologize when needed. And if you catch yourself being petty, own up to it, walk in integrity, say, hey, baby, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. That was petty. And then you reset the tone, because a petty mindset is not what you want to have in your marriage. It can slowly drain love and joy and gratitude from a marriage. But choosing kindness and patience and open communication will make your marriage stronger and more fulfilling. And it will make that marriage exactly what God wants it to be. Godly Chicks podcast episode, Happy, Holy, and Married, is available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.